The takedown definitely worked, and of course a lot of people from us said, okay, how long it might will work, days or weeks? No. And this is what we are very lucky about it. It worked until today. So Avalanche is still down, and that's really a good work from all of the named people, I think. Yeah. Hi everybody, my name is Jörn Bisping. I'm a German police officer working in a department fighting against organized crime in Lower Saxony, Lüneburg. I'm a team leader in the field of cybercrime. I'm here to talk about the nomination about the Avalanche case, and of course why I'm here. Why am I here? I'm here because I had the luck together with Frank to investigate this case, and perhaps we got nominated because we started a big cooperation with a lot of others, and out of this we had a big success last year. So Frank, do you want to start also?
Okay, hello everybody. My name is Frank Lange. I'm a senior prosecutor from the prosecutor's office at Verden, also in Lower Saxony in the northern of Germany. I'm the head of a specialized cybercrime unit with 4 prosecutors, and we are responsible for a big part of Lower Saxony. And yes, I started also working on cybercrime as Jörn did in 2012. Before that, I was specialized in the field of organized crime, and since then I switched over to a specialized form of organized crime, to cybercrime, especially cybercrime in the field of botnets. So,
yeah,
yes, Jörn.
Well, same than you, Frank. I'm also working in my department since a long time, 18 years. Before combating cybercrime, I worked also in the field of organized crime, other sectors, other phenomena. In the end, as it is here in your office, also on the police side, there was developed founded a new team in Lower Saxony. There were founded new teams next to my team in 2012 because, and as everybody know, attacks out of this field of cybercrime grown up, and more and more cases were recognized to combat out of police work. And of course, this was one of the reasons my department, my chiefs decided 5 years ago to found a special team to combat this crime. Yeah, in the end I have the luck to lead this team. We are 10 officers in my team, and with these 10 officers we started in 2012 together with Frank's office and his colleague, this case. We started this case with attacks out of 200 single cases on a special ransomware, what is called ransomware P. Do you remember, Frank, 5 years ago, just 200 single cases?
Yes.
Yeah.
This was a starting point in 2012. We were only 2 prosecutors in my unit, and it was especially Marcus who put a lot of work in this case, and I have to say him thank you very much. and he's working on this up to now. And yes, he started with the daily work, and yes, we detected, or Jörn's team detected this as the relation between these 200 cases of ransomware. And yes, we investigated on this to identify the perpetrators who are responsible for this, and we are also searching for ways to stop these attacks. Yes, and so in the first years, especially Jörn and Marcus worked very narrow to go ahead and to make the next steps. And also beginning in 2012, yes, they made a lot of search warrants, a lot of seizings of servers, and they went on step by step, and it developed to a really big case that spreads all over Europe in this point.
And as you remember, of course, now in 2017, 5 years later, why did we need that long time to investigate? As I already said, both of us, we founded, our team were built up at that time. And of course, we needed to create a lot of things new, because nobody did before such cases and investigate such cases. Out of these first 200 single cases, we developed a much bigger case. And you remember, first we were just responsible in Lower Saxony for the cases. 2013, you executed the case a nationwide level for whole Germany. And then, of course, we recognized that not just the ransom LockP, the ransomware is the problem, or the malware the attack is used. We recognized that a lot of different malwares belongs together. And then we came up a little bit on the German level, as you said, to the first other countries, and in the direction to Europol and Eurojust, for the first coordination meetings, to think about, okay, what is possible? Do you remember? And that's exactly what I think why we are here together. Yeah. Because, perhaps we both, we thought, okay, we need a concept, a bigger one, isn't it?
Yes.
So
yes, we detected that this malware was conducted via an infrastructure with the possibility to run a lot of botnets through, and we've seen that there are a lot of countries involved. Where are the servers for this infrastructure? And we had developed some special ways to seize and to examine these servers and to wiretap them. So we had to coordinate our investigation in this step all over Europe. We included almost every European country to our investigation, and to coordinate this, there was the job of Eurojust, and especially the member of the German desk there, Gabriel, was very important and very helpful for us to coordinate this. And on the other side, on the police side there, I think it was Adrian who was responsible to support us a lot.
Yeah, Adrian from Europol, of course. He arranged a lot of meetings, operational meeting, but get a little big or a little small step back. Of course, in Germany also, we got that big support by our federal bureau, the BKA, and of course also by another colleague from North Rhine-Westphalia, Mary, who supported the case by a lot of skills he has. And the liaison officers all over in the countries, because do you remember, we visited a lot of countries during the case by executing single actions in front of the big action to to develop, and of course to tap and to seize a lot of stuff.
Yes, members of my team went to almost every European country. Yes, and so we get ahead, and I think it was in 2015 that we got an overview over the whole system, how it works, and yes, and to make it possible to identify all elements of this infrastructure.
Yeah.
We also needed a lot of help from the private sector. And so you made the contacts, and I had, yes, and we, on the justice side, we developed the idea to get these experts into the criminal case as expert or as
witnesses.
At witnesses,
Yeah.
expert witnesses, and they're in the first line to name the guys from the Federal Office for Information Security, especially Willy and Frank, and Elmar and Sascha from the Fraunhofer Institute, FKIE.
Yeah, and as you said, yeah, Fraunhofer, yeah, with their skills, yeah, especially reverse engineering, yeah, they did the work on the malware. And as we already said, of course, the field is new. Do you remember my team? Of course, we developed a lot of skills, but we needed these experts, these skills from Mary and from Fraunhofer, and that was one of the keys for the success in the case. Yeah, you're totally right. And then, of course, the second part, next to the skills, we came together, do you remember, and thought about, okay, what kind of concept should we go on with that to beat them?
So yes, and we developed a concept that if you want to take down botnets and also the infrastructure where it runs in, you need to work on three pillars. For our understanding, it's a three-pillar model where you need three pillars or three elements. First element is identifying and prosecuting the perpetrators.
Of course, to take down the infrastructure, yeah, to do seizures on all command and control servers that, of course, the infrastructure itself will take down.
Yes,
and
that's
third,
the second element.
Yeah.
And the third element is to identify the victims and to make a victim's remediation, and for this side you need the domains that are used via this infrastructure. Okay, so at this point we detected that it is not enough to run this case as a German or a European case. We have seen that we have to narrow it to this from a global perspective. And so we developed a very narrow cooperation with our American colleagues, especially from the Department of Justice and the Attorney's Office from the Western District of Pennsylvania, where Todd and Mike are working very intensive on this case, and I think on the FBI side.
Yeah, you are right. In that days, we got connected also to the FBI office in Pittsburgh, to Brian. And that was also one of the big goals in the case. He, with his team, also bring up the case with a lot of new informations. And of course, what we talked about, Avalanche, the infrastructure, it was located, the control servers all over the world. And of course, a lot of them were in that time in Northern America. And Brian, by opening the Mirror case, or Todd, as you said, that brings up the investigation. Yeah.
Yes, it made possible to go ahead with a lot of service very faster than before, and they also got information that we sometimes needed a lot of time to get them, and they have other possibilities to get them. also in a way for, in the legal way for a criminal case. Yes, so this was one international narrow cooperation, and the other part is the narrow cooperation with the Ukraine. They are the Office of the Prosecutor General for Ukraine at Kiev, because we detected there are some important suspects for this case who live in the Ukraine, and we had a lot of support from there. And I think
and the same on the infrastructure side. Yeah, we recognize Service-Over and the Ukraine were the very important countries. But in the end, and this was, I think, our really luck. We found with Europol and Eurojust the platform to establish the cooperation. We got in the position by Europol and Eurojust to invite all these necessary cooperation partners for operational meetings. And as we said, our biggest meeting, I think, we had with more than 40 representatives from more than 40 countries. And that was also really big key to transport this case to all these countries, to get priority for this case in all these countries, to bring up everybody that this attack or these attacks, 100,000 of these attacks done by this infrastructure avalanche. And then we started 2015, right, with our concept, with our 3-pillar concept. And as you said, we need more than a year to execute, to plan everything. That was a big work.
Yes, and it, of course, I think everybody can imagine. We had to prepare that we can start with all 3 pillars of the takedown of the infrastructure at one moment, at one day. It was the 13th of November 2016, all over the world with, I think at the moment in November, involved more than 60 countries, where so that all over the world, law enforcement and private sector had to be prepared to act in one moment, in the same moment. And I think everybody can imagine that it needed a lot of time to prepare this. And yes, we had the luck. It worked.
It worked, as you said. And of course, there were a lot of difficulties. We had, of course, some countries who didn't want to be named, some countries shouldn't be named. And of course, we had to solve the problem, especially for the matter of the thinking, to cover all the countries, and
I think it was very important that there was the Shadow Server Foundation, especially
Benedict from Roller,
and from the Shadow Server Foundation, David and Stu, who have the contacts all around of the world to bring especially the private sector together, and also to give the equipment and the equipment to handle more than 800,000 domains that we had to take over and to seize or to block, to work on, especially on the victim side of this case.
And these are deeply, of course, cooperation, especially with the private sector, was one of the key. The weekly conference call we had, a lot of work they supported in our investigation. And without all these partners, we never would have that success. And this is, of course, it is a very good example, this case, for everybody to come, of course, in such a cooperation with all the law enforcement, but also with the private partners. Without them, it was not be possible to get these results.
Yes.
Not has happened, I'm sure.
Yes, and I think in future it will also be possible to work in this way on combating a botnet infrastructure. But what we have learned is that it is needed to cooperate global and to cooperate between the federal side and the private sector. And so we've learned a lot of lessons, and we hope that other institutions will go the same way, because we think it is possible to combat such kinds of
it is possible.
criminal
Yes.
in the internet.
And I'm sure, and I hope out of our case there will be a lot of other cases going the same way. And of course we will do in the next case the same way. All these really good guys on earth, they are all willing work together in such cooperation. We thought, everyone was high motivated, and everybody seems, or let us know that it was a good action we did. Yeah.
Yes, and you have to travel. I think it's also very important. You have to meet the colleagues and to talk with them, to drink a beer with them.
Of course.
And so you develop the relation that you need to act in this way together.
Of course. You need skills, yes, you need time, and you need, of course, personality meetings. Yeah, it's, I think, big goals for this success. And the cooperation. We just can say it again and again. Cooperation is the key. Yeah.
And then it is possible to bring such systems down, and we are looking forward that a lot of people will.
Perhaps the last word, of course, we are really proud, and it's a big honor for us to get nominated.
Yes.
Yeah. And thank you, of course, and it will give me personally, and of course it will give us a lot of motivation for the future. Thank you.
Yes, thank you also from my side.